Chapter 1. Who were they? It was a normal weekday morning for the people of Najafgarh, Delhi. It was a narrow, crowded street. The mothers were taking their children to school buses. Men were bringing milk from shops for their families. Some people were taking a walk with their dogs. Though there were not sufficient places for humans in those houses and streets, some people kept their dogs with them. Everything was as a usual normal morning. Nothing special or interesting. But suddenly something happened that made some people curious. People stand in the street and on balconies and watching something with great curiosity. Some policemen and policewomen were there. They were taking two people from a small congested flat. One man and one woman. They covered their faces. But still, people can guess they were young and good looking. They were wearing casual wearing, that is knee-length lowers and round-neck t-shirts. Oh, they are the couple who took a flat on rent recently, one voice came. It is too risky to rent out a house nowadays, says another voice. Landlord must have checked their Aadhaar and other documents. Their landlord is a nice and law-abiding person, the third voice says. So many voices and whispers made the environment exciting. Soon after, many press vans and media persons reached there. Breaking news started scrolling on TV screens. Who were they? What did they do? Are they part of human trafficking or sex racket? Why did police take them? Soon news channels flashed the headlines. One Afghanistan citizen has been arrested with his aide for selling drugs. Who is his aide? That girl. News channels started giving data about foreign nationals indulging in illegal activities in India. Chapter 2. Father's love for his daughter. It was the third day of the arrest of Uma and Hamid. They were in police custody. Assistant Sub-Inspector of Police, ASI, Mr. Bhupesh Singh was the investigating officer for this case. People, related to this case, generally called him IO. He was a young and handsome man. He was working as a police officer for about 4 years. He was happy to get a case that grabbed media attention in such a short span of his job. He was working very hard on this case. He was confident that he would get judicial remand from the court for both accused Uma and Hamid. Dr. Mr. Umesh Khanduja was sitting in the waiting area at the police station to see his daughter Uma. Uma was his only daughter. He loved her dearly. He was a doctor and wanted Uma to be a doctor too. He sent her to Delhi to take coaching classes for medical entrance. But hard her luck, she couldn't qualify for the entrance test. After some unsuccessful attempts to get admission in medical colleges, she finally took admission in a biotechnology course. Dr. Khanduja was not like a traditional father. He was like a friend of his daughter. Uma's younger brother Akash was also preparing for the medical entrance test. Dr. Khanduja was busy with his job. He was also helping his son in his preparation. He used to make calls to his daughter at least twice a day. He knew that his daughter was in love with one of her classmates, Saurabh. He didn't object to his daughter's choice and accepted their relationship. However, he did not have a slight idea about Hamid, or Uma's indulgence in any illegal activities. TV news was shocking for him. First of all, he consoled himself and his wife that news channels were giving false news and also that the girl in the news was not their daughter. But when Delhi police called him and informed him about the arrest of his daughter, then he had no choice but to believe this news. Though his dear daughter caused lowering his social respect. But still, he decided to stand with her in this tough situation. Mr. Khanduja, guard called. Yes, it's me. Can I go inside to see my daughter? Your daughter is not here. She was sent to jail. You have to see her there. It was the first experience for Dr. Khanduja to deal with police, court and jail. However, he did not say anything. He remained sitting there. After 1 or 2 minutes, he asked about the procedure to see his daughter there. Guard ignored him and walked away. One of the co-visitors sitting there told him about the formalities he had to fulfill to see his daughter in jail. Chapter 3. Uma's new boyfriend. Dr. Khanduja was sitting in the waiting area of the jail after fulfilling all formalities. He was told to wait. A policeman came and informed all visitors to meet their incarcerated relatives. Mr. Khanduja also went after that policeman. He was allowed to see his daughter through a glass wall between them and talk to her with the microphone. Uma was looking pale. Her face was sad and worried. When she looked at her father, she could not hold her emotions. She only could say, "Papa." Father also could not speak for a minute. Then he spoke softly. I have trust in my daughter. I know my daughter cannot do something wrong. Don't worry. I will hire the best lawyer for you and will prove you innocent. Thank you, Papa. Please hire a lawyer for Hamid too. He is not from this country. He has none here to help him. Please, Papa. Okay, I will do so. But first tell me, who is Hamid? Where did you meet him? He is here to study. I met him through a common friend 8 months ago. He is a good person and I like him. Okay, I will take care of your friend too. Father tried to smile, though it was not a happy smile. Was the drug belongs to him? No, Papa, he cannot do anything wrong. I know him, she said slowly. Don't you think 8 months is not enough to know any person? Do you know about his family background? What is his source of income? His father is a farmer in Afghanistan. Most of his property was destroyed in the war. He is doing modeling here for income. What about Saurabh? Does he know him? Yes, Papa. Now I am not with him. Now I am with Hamid. With Hamid. Are you in a relationship with him? Please think about your decision. Hamid cannot give you a safe future. Uma did not reply. Her eyes filled with tears. Guard called him to over their meeting as meeting time was over. Father looked to the guard and then looked at his daughter. Take care of yourself. I am always with you. I will file an application for your bail soon. Let me find a good lawyer. Not only for me, for Hamid too, Papa. Father could not speak but nodded and left the meeting window slowly. Chapter 4. Saurabh's sadness for Uma. Dr. Khanduja was sitting in the office of Advocate Dr. Anil Bhardwaj. Saurabh was also with him. Mr. Bhardwaj went through the file and all other documents. Then he asked Dr. Khanduja, please tell the truth about this case. Only then I can help your daughter. Saurabh spoke out, Uma is an innocent and emotional girl. Hamid is a very clever man. He is in dire need of money. His father is a poor farmer. He earns not much money from his modeling profession. He must have used Uma for his dirty purpose. He has a charming personality and he entrapped Uma with this. Advocate Bhardwaj, can you tell me about the indulgence of Hamid? If the drugs belong to him, then the question is whether Uma was aware of this fact. Was she knowingly accompanying him or she was unaware of his intention? Dr. Khanduja, I think she is innocent. She had not a slight idea about illegal activities that had been done by him. What an emotional fool she is. Even seeing all these things she still believes he is innocent and wants to help him. Hamid is a very handsome and clever man. He used Uma and Uma left me for him, said Saurabh. Advocate Bhardwaj, still you want to help them? No, I don't want to help both of them, I just want to save Uma, said Saurabh. But why? She does not love you, she loves someone else and you know that. Still, you want to save her? Asked Advocate Bhardwaj. Yes, because I love her. I loved her with all of my heart, cannot forget her, she may forget me for others. There was complete silence in the chamber for 1 or 2 minutes. Dr. Khanduja was hearing this complete conversation. He felt sorry for Saurabh and at the same time, he felt some anger for his daughter. What a foolish girl she is. Everything is clear. She is in great trouble because of that Hamid. Everyone could see this, except that silly girl. After some discussion, Advocate Bhardwaj agreed to take this case into his own hands. However, there was a fair chance of losing the case as the police had strong evidence against both accused. Even then he ensured Dr. Khanduja and Saurabh to do his level best to save both of his clients. Dr. Khanduja and Saurabh had great trust in him. They knew that his case was weak but they got a good advocate. They were satisfied with their choice to select Mr. Bhardwaj as an advocate. Chapter 5. The 9 bottles of deodorant. It was a day fixed for the court hearing of Uma and Hamid's drug case. Dr. Khanduja and Saurabh were reached there before the court session. Dr. Khanduja had trust in his advocate, yet he reminded thrice to him be on time in court. Advocate knew his anxiety for the safety of his daughter, so he ignored his pursuant smiling. Their serial number was 3rd. Dr. Khanduja was so much worried about his case. He saw I.O. Mr. Bhupesh Singh. He was nice to him. He greeted with a smile to Dr. Khanduja. Dr. Khanduja also gave a sad smile back to him. After some time one policeman brought Hamid to the courtroom. Dr. Khanduja saw him for the first time. I.O. gave a hint to him. He tried to talk to Hamid, but then his advocate Mr. Anil Bhardwaj arrived. There was an exchange of smiles. Just then a policewoman brought Uma into the courtroom. When Uma saw her father sitting there, she felt a sigh of relief. Her father will save her and her Hamid. Then suddenly she saw Saurabh sitting beside him. She did not like that. Why he is present everywhere, why he did not go from her life. She did not want to see him. Saurabh also saw her. There was eye contact between them, but soon he turned his face to the public prosecutor. Hamid also saw Uma. They both exchanged a mild smile. But it was a not happy smile. It was a deep sorrowful smile. Without saying a word, both want to assure each other that they were together. Judge came. Everyone stood up. The judge sat down and started court proceedings. After about half an hour, the court peon called the case name, State vs. Uma and another. Everyone related to this case became attentive. At first, the public prosecutor started to put forward her case. She was a young and beautiful woman. She was also looking very skilled and energetic. She was placing her case before the court in a very convincing way. Dr. Khanduja liked her way of talking and convincing the court. But the skill might be proved against his daughter. This time he was sitting closer to his daughter. There was no seat, so Hamid and his policeman stood in the corner of the courtroom. The public prosecutor started speaking confidently. Youth is the future of the country. Delhi is hope for youth. Youth from every corner of the country come here to study or a job. They don't come alone, but the dreams and ambitions of their parents come with them. But in Delhi, they started taking drugs. Drugs give them amusement and thrill initially, but later they kill them slowly. So selling drugs means selling death. Death of young promising life. Death of dreams and ambitions of their families. No death seller should escape from the harsher punishment of the law. She paused for 2 or 3 seconds and had a look at every face present in the courtroom. Then she continued, both accused in the present case are among death sellers. They are selling drugs to young students. The police witnesses proved beyond a reasonable doubt that they were selling drugs. Police found drugs in the bag of the girl named Uma. She was caught red-handed. She must be punished with the highest punishment that the law provides. Co-accused Hamid is equally participating in her drug-selling business. Judges asked the IO, "Have you got the drugs from the flat of the accused?" "Yes sir, I was personally involved in that raid. I along with the head constable and 4 other constables raided the flat of the accused. There we found drugs. Then we fulfilled all formalities and arrested both the accused." IO gave details to the court. "Where were the drugs kept? What the amount of the drug you were found there?" asked the judge. "They were kept in deodorant bottles. Though the label of the bottle had some different brand names of deodorant, inside there were drugs and not a deodorant. There were a total 9 of such deodorant bottles found in the bag of the girl," replied the IO. Everybody was watching Hamid and Uma's faces while hearing the IO. The judge went through the case file. He adjourned the case for the next date. The next date was fixed for cross-examinations of witnesses. Chapter 6, Searching for the Clue. Dr. Khanduja and Saurabh were again sitting in the chamber of Advocate Bhardwaj. The court had already rejected 2 bail petitions despite his best efforts. Uma and Hamid were still in judicial custody. Mr. Bhardwaj started saying, law enforcement agencies dealing very strictly with such type of offense these days. Uma has already admitted that those 9 deodorant bottles belong to her. Hamid also admitted that he was there in that flat that day and he knew that so many deodorant bottles were with Uma. He paused for some time and looked faces of Mr. Khanduja and Saurabh. He continued, she must have admitted that someone else had given those bottles to her and she was completely ignorant of the presence of those bottles. I tutored her to say this before the court, but she told me that she will tell only the truth. Someone else. Do you mean to Hamid? Dr. Khanduja asked. Maybe. The door was locked from the inside. Both are saying that none came inside the flat. Then how did bottle come to the flat? Said Advocate Mr. Bhardwaj. Obviously, it is Hamid, Saurabh interrupted. He continued, Hamid living a luxurious lifestyle. He has no permanent source of income, but he always wears costly branded clothes and shoes. He has so many girlfriends. He needs money for his luxuries. He has an opportunity to hide bottles in Uma's bag. Dr. Khanduja was listening to all these conversations silently. He said in a slow voice, I have to save my child. I cannot let her in jail waiting for a slow death. I need her to be free once again. I want her acquittal and nothing else. I have nothing to do with Hamid. Chapter 7, Vanishing Hope. It has been past about 8 months. Uma was in jail as under trial criminal. Gradually she started losing hope. She has only two pleasant events in her life: one, when her father comes to see her in jail, and second, when she sees Hamid at the time of the court hearing. She was waiting for these two events. Everything else was like a long-lost memory for her. Today she was happy because her father would see her. As the meeting time was announced, she stood at a certain window to see her father through a glass wall. Dr. Khanduja was now well acquainted with this environment. He smiled to see his daughter. "How is Mama?" she asked in a grimed voice. "She is fine. She is always worried about you." They both kept silent for some time. Uma broke the silence. "Have you met the advocate? What is he saying? Is there any chance to win?" "Yes, we are always in his touch," said Dr. Khanduja. "We?" asked Uma. "Yes, I and Saurabh." He waited for some time, then again continued. "Saurabh is a good guy. He has been with me all over this odd time. He accompanies me everywhere." Uma kept silence. "I think he still loves you. Please think again. 8 months is not enough to know any person. Papa, don't take Saurabh along with you in the courtroom. I don't want to see him. Please." Uma said, almost crying. "Should I ask a question? Though this might be your personal decision, but still. Why you left Saurabh? Last time you came home, all the time you kept talking about Saurabh. You kept talking Saurabh is so caring, he is so gentle, he is sensible, he is responsible, etc., etc." Dr. Khanduja was looking carefully face of his daughter. Uma started crying. Her eyes were rolling with tears. She was looking at the floor. Father felt pity for her. "However," he continued, "were those of your observations wrong? If this is so, then if you could not find the true color of your close friend in 4 long years, how can you know about Hamid in 8 months? Father asked, glaring at the daughter's face. Uma said, crying, "Papa, Saurabh has changed. When I initially met him, he was caring, responsible and sensible. But now he gradually changed." "Yes, Papa, he changed. Not only his behavior and thinking but his body language also changed. He always keeps shaking. He cannot make eye contact for long. His mood swings so swiftly. He is too hard to handle. Sometimes he becomes too violent without reason, and sometimes becomes too polite. This cannot be my Saurabh. When I met him he was a completely different person." She continued crying and shaking. Father consoled her and changed the topic. Chapter 8, Saurabh anger for Hamid. "Uncle, you, here, at this time, is everything alright?" Saurabh asked, feeling awkwardly. He moved aside and let Dr. Khanduja in. Dr. Khanduja did not respond, only let his heavy breath out. Saurabh repeated, "Is everything alright, uncle? The court hearing is still 15 days away." Dr. Khanduja said slowly, "No, nothing much. Tomorrow is Uma's birthday. I came to see her." He paused for 2 or 3 seconds, then continued, "She is in jail for more than 9 months. She now started losing hope. Don't know what to say to her or what to do for her." There was a pin-drop silence in the flat for some minutes. Dr. Khanduja suddenly asked, "Should I change our advocate? I know Mr. Bhardwaj is doing his best, but still, result is far away. I will do whatever will help my daughter out of her misery." Saurabh was staring at him silently. Though he was also disturbed inside, he had no clue what to say. "Saurabh, tell me the truth, what happened between you and Uma?" He put his eye on the face of Saurabh. "I know you still love Uma, you want to help her. What was the problem between both of you?" "The problem was only one, uncle." Saurabh started feeling uneasy and shaking his hands and legs. "That bastard. The tall, fair, handsome mullah, he has stolen my innocent Uma from me." His face turned livid. He clenched his fist and flung it in the air. Dr. Khanduja patted his back gently. "What are you doing tomorrow evening? Saturday is a working or an off day for you." "It's a working day, uncle, but what's the matter? In fact, generally, I return from the office at about 5 p.m. on Saturday. However, I have a pre-scheduled meeting with some old friends in the evening." "That's nice. Enjoy with your friends. See you later." Saurabh folded his hand in formal namaste. Chapter 9, Hamid's guilt. The court was in session. Everyone was in their position as earlier hearing. Hamid was standing with a policeman who was holding his hand. Uma was standing with a policewoman who brought her from jail. Dr. Khanduja and Saurabh were sitting in the visitors' row. Investigation officer Mr. Bhupesh Singh was standing near the side wall of the courtroom. A young and beautiful lady public prosecutor was sitting near the stenographer of the court. Defense advocate Mr. Bhardwaj was sitting on first row in the designated seats for advocates. Court peon cried out the name of the case, State vs. Uma and another. Prosecution and defense counsels took their respective places. Hamid and Uma stood behind the defense counsel Mr. Bhardwaj. Yes, Mr. Counsel. Almost all witnesses have already recorded their statements. Only the last witness I.O. investigation officer remained to examine. The judge spoke up in plain manner while his eyes were struck on a thick flipping file in his hand. Yes sir, I.O. is the most important witness in this case because he is personally involved in every aspect of this case since the information has been received in the police station. Defense counsel Mr. Bhardwaj reminded the court. Yes, M.'s prosecutor. Please finish your examination in chief. The judge asked the public prosecutor, P.P. Yes sir. P.P. diverted her eyes from the file and looked up to the judge. She gave a brief look to all concerned persons and started to address, Sir, this is a clear case of illegal drug selling and I have established it beyond reasonable doubt. As I said on the last date, the I.O. had a raid on the rented flat and both accused were found there. 9 bottles of deodorant were found in the bag of the girl which was full of drugs. She paused for some second, looking at the judge who was seeing the file. She turned toward the I.O. Mr. Singh, at the time of the raid, how many people were there? She asked. 1 head constable, and 4 constables. I called the landlord of the flat, he and his wife were also there. When the flat was opened 4 to 5 persons from adjoining flats also came there out of curiosity. Bhupesh Singh replied. The stenographer was typing all these questions and answers on the computer. The judge and the respective counsels fixed their eyes most of the time on the monitor. Have you got testimonies from the public witness at the time of the seizure of the drugs i.e. case property? Yes, I did. I made the list of the seized articles and recorded statements of the present persons. I had completed all required formalities. I.O. explained the series of events with timelines. The entire statement of I.O. was reduced in writing. Then P.P. started to ask questions to Hamid. Mr. Hamid, you look smart. Your shoes are so nice. P.P. said. Hamid was not sure if he should take this as a compliment or something else. So he stood silently. How much did this shoe cost? I don't remember, Hamid replied confused. Your t-shirt suits you. Do you remember how much this cost? No, don't worry. Let Google help you. She opened her mobile, typed something and showed some pictures to Hamid and the judge. The shoes are available online for 7,000 and the t-shirt is for 3,000. How much money is in your wallet right now? Asked P.P. in a cold voice. I don't exactly remember. It may be approx. 4,000, 5,000. Said Hamid calmly. How much amount in your account? About 70,000 Indian rupees. Let me be direct. How much is your monthly income? It not fixed. Can you elaborate on this? I do modeling for some fashion brands. It is not a fixed income job. I get payment on the assignment basis. Everybody looks face of Hamid interestingly. His handsome face was calm and sad this time. Uma was feeling angry with the P.P. Why she is asking such questions, she is harassing him. For Mr. Khanduja these questions were obvious. However, he did not feel angry about P.P. or Hamid. He was a little bit distracted by Saurabh. He was unintentionally comparing Saurabh and Hamid. Though his eyes were on the P.P. and Hamid. Sometimes he tries to observe the mind of judge. At the same time, he gazes Saurabh at the corner of his eyes. Saurabh was sitting beside him. He was looking uncomfortable. However, he was not sure what made him uncomfortable. Is this presence of Hamid? Is this Uma's loving look at Hamid? Or maybe disturbing questions of P.P.? Maybe all of them, maybe none of them, some other things making him feeling uneasy. What could be that? Dr. Khanduja kept thinking. He remembers his conversation with Uma. Papa, Saurabh has changed. He cannot be my Saurabh. It means you don't have a fixed source of income. Sometimes you earn 50,000, 100,000, or more. At the same time, sometimes you go without earning anything. Is it right? The voice of PP brought Dr. Khanduja back to the case hearing. Yes, it is right, Hamid said briefly. At the same time, your expenses are fixed. You have to pay your flat rent, expenses for your food and travel etc. You have to maintain your luxurious lifestyle also. Last sentence she said sarcastically. Hamid ignored her sarcasm. He replied calmly, I am not living a luxurious life. In fact, I live a simple life. I keep branded things but not in many. I live in a small cheap flat. I mostly use public buses to travel. And even though I need money, my father sent me from Afghanistan. What does his father do? Questions followed. He is a farmer. How much land does he own? A supplementary question. He is a small farmer. We are not very rich people, and even in India, I used to live a moderate lifestyle. Moderate lifestyle. Yes, a very moderate one. She said sarcastically. Hamid ignored this. Yes, Mr. Moderate Lifestyle. Your body odor is nice. Which is your favorite deodorant? How many bottles do you use in a month? Defense counsel Mr. Anil Bhardwaj was listening carefully to this conversation and observing the computer monitor. Sometimes he writes something in his file. He spoke up, M's prosecutor using insulting language to the accused. The basic principle of law must be remembered: no person can be humiliated as accused until he is found guilty by the court after trial. Objection sustained. The judge warned the PP to control her anger toward the accused. Hamid looked at everyone's face at once. Then his eyes stayed for some time on Umar. PP started to speak. How many men used their girls to carry their personal belongings, like deodorant, for themselves? I think none, I mean none of a normal man. The gents' deodorants were also kept in the girl's bag. What is the explanation for that? The only conclusion is that he and the girl, the both aware that the bottle consists of the drug and they were not kept for their personal use but intentionally kept for commercial use. Everyone's eyes shifted from PP to Hamid. PP continued, Sorry sir, but I am not humiliating the accused. I only trying to draw your attention to the massive gap between his little income, little savings and expensive lifestyle of the accused. To maintain his third-page lifestyle he needs more money. But his income is not sufficient for that. She gave a look to Hamid and then completed her sentence. This shows his motive. He wanted to earn easy money from selling the drug. The girl, Uma, is his partner in this illegal business. Mr. Bhardwaj, sir, I seek permission to ask some questions from IO. Judge nodded. IO came in the witness box. Mr. Bhardwaj to IO, Mr. Singh, can you tell the court if any criminal record for both of the accused? No, they are a first-time offender. How did the police know about some illegal thing hiding in the flat of the accused? Police got a call on number 100. No time left now. Due to paucity of time, the case is adjourned for the next date. Judge announced. Chapter 10, The Grey Short-Haired Man. Dr. Khanduja was feeling restless. After returning from the court hearing he tried to get some rest. But he could only toss over on the bed in his hotel room. His returning train was at 10 p.m. from New Delhi railway station. The hotel was only 10 minutes away from the railway station. It was only 6 p.m., so he had 3.5 hour time. The last question of Mr. Bhardwaj was still stuck in his mind. Who informed the police about the drugs? After an initial inquiry, the case was handed over to the narcotic department. Officials from narcotics and the police both inquired about hours from Uma and Hamid separately and confronted them to each other asking from where they got these drugs. However, they stick on their stand that they owned bottles but they did not know about the drug inside it. Police mentioned in their charge sheet that some anonymous person used to hand them over the bottles. Dr. Khanduja tried to connect things remind once again. Though he did the same thing so many times earlier. He was now well acquainted with the legal process and provisions. He was well aware of the police investigation system too. There's something is missing. What it could be? Who informed the police? Why does Uma think that Saurabh has changed? Has Saurabh really has changed? What has changed in him? There were so many questions in his mind. But he had answer for none of these questions. He looked at the wall clock in his hotel room. It was 6:30 p.m. Saurabh's flat was in Janakpuri West. It was though, far away but not so far. He can reach there in about 45 minutes by DTC bus. But it was a rush hour for traffic. Traffic may take more than 1 hour. Should I call Saurabh instead of going there? I can't miss the train, I have a pre-scheduled surgery tomorrow. My patient must be waiting. Usually, he used to take a cab to travel to Delhi. But today he decided to go to Surab flat by bus. He was not clear why he was going to meet him. I will reach there about 7 p.m. Saurabh has taken half-day leave from the office today to attend the court hearing. But still, he must have returned from the office by the time I will be there. At this time he must be in a hurry to leave the office or on the way to his home. So I should not call him. He suddenly jumped off from his bed and put on his shirt. He left the room for Surabh home. There were so many things on his mind. He got off from the bus and took a service lane to reach Surabh home, avoiding the traffic of the main road. He was walking lost in his thoughts. Suddenly he saw Saurabh coming toward the service lane. It was about 7 p.m. in September. Street lights were on, but he was still confused whether it was Saurabh or someone else resembling him. Where is he going in such a hurry? The Saurabh-like man was looking in a hurry. He did not notice Mr. Khanduja and straight went near a tree on the service lane. Mr. Khanduja saw a thin man with short grey hair was there and he handed over a packet to the Saurabh. Saurabh gave him something and returned to his home. Now Mr. Khanduja was some closer and he saw his fact in the street light. It was Saurabh, for sure. Mr. Khanduja was about to call him, but he kept silent. Who was the thin grey short-haired man? I saw him from back, so couldn't see his face. He was not like a courier boy. Courier boy must have served the thing at his gate and came by bike. What was in that packet? It packet was looking like something online ordered. But why this secrecy? Who is that thin grey short-haired man? Mr. Khanduja waited some time. Thinking something, he went to the flat of Saurabh. Though he came to this flat 2 times earlier. But this time he was watching more curiously the surroundings. He rang the doorbell 3 times but no response from inside. He left the door thinking about something. Chapter 11. Uma speaks to herself. Uma was in her cell in the women's jail. Though 3 other under trial women prisoners were also there, Uma was feeling all alone. She was missing badly her home, her college, and of course, her Hamid too. Now happy memories of the past started fading. The cruel memories of her present shed her memories when she was out of this place. As always, sleep was far away from her eyes. She was trying to think of something. When she came here, so many thoughts used to come to her mind. But now, her mind surrendered. It was completely blank. No thought there anymore. Now it only follows. Follow the order of the authorities, that's all. Nothing else. But at this time she trying to think something. She had read the charge sheet police filed in her case. Initially, she was surprised. So many, what, when, and how, were in her mind. However, she had no answer for that. There were 2 keys to the flat, one was with Hamid and another was with me. My backpack was always with me. I used to carry this bag along when I was out of my flat. A water bottle, books, a tablet, a notebook, a wallet, a comb and a packet of face tissue paper, these things were always kept in my bag. That day also these things were in my bag. I usually do my lunch in the college canteen. My classes were over at about 5 p.m. Then I went to a private library where I usually used to go. I kept my bag in a locker. At around 6:30 evening I was in a roadside restaurant near Mandi House metro station. Hamid was working in a play and his rehearsal was there. Around 7:15 Hamid came to me. We together had some snacks and coffee and went home. I flanked my backpack on a corner of the room and went to freshen up myself. I and Hamid watched TV for some time, called and chatted with our friends on mobile. I cooked dinner. Hamid helped me as usual. We ate our dinner together, cleaned the kitchen, walked for some time on the terrace, and then went to bed around 12:30. Nothing was unusual, but the next morning was very unusual for me. At around 5 a.m. there was a loud knock on the door. The visitor was knocking and pressing the doorbell at the same time. I and Hamid sprung to bed upon hearing this. Hamid opened the door. To my surprise, some police personnel along with my landlord were standing there. Before I could understand what was going on, police personnel spread all around my house and started searching for something. People from the adjoining flats were gathering there out of curiosity. Everyone's face was blank. Everyone wanted to know what was going on there. And so I was equally shocked at what was going on. For what police searching my house? After around 45 minutes, a policeman came with some bottles of deodorant. He asked me in a rude voice, "Do you know this?" "Yes, this is deodorant," I replied confusingly. "How many deodorants do you have?" He asked again. "I like to have deodorant of different brands and different fragrances. Is keeping the deodorant offense in this country?" I replied strictly. "It means these all bottles belong to you, isn't it?" He asked. "Yes, all these mines. I bought this," I said. "You mean, you use this gent's deodorant too?" he asked sarcastically. "Yes, I like the strong fragrance of gents' perfumes and deodorant." Another policeman asked Hamid if he knew the bottles. He agreed. The policeman asked if this belonged to him. He again agreed. Meanwhile, another policeman brought my bag. "Do you know this?" "Yes, this is mine." "What is in this bag?" People gathered around looking at me carefully. I was feeling awkward and frustrated. "Some daily using stuff, I need these while I go out." "What kind of stuff? Why are you asking so many questions? You are interrogating me like I have done some crime. Keeping a bag or keeping deodorant is not an offense, why are you torturing us?" I said, almost crying. A senior-looking policeman roared, "Take them in custody and fulfill all formality." He turned to my landlord and other neighbors and told them, "What we had found in front of you, we did not put anything ourselves, you all are witnesses to this. We prepared a list of articles we found, please sign on it." The all scene is displayed again in her mind. Who has the opportunity to keep bottles in her bag? Is this Hamid? No, it cannot be possible. He is not such a person. He loves me. He cannot be a criminal. Then who? Who did this? Chapter 12. Was police biased? ASI. Bhupesh Singh was sitting in a coffee house in Civil Lines. This area was close to Delhi University, so there were so many young students there. Some were inside the coffee house, some were near the park or some other places. Some young girls have arrived from their scooters, which they must have found at Vishwavidyalaya metro station on rent. However, Bhupesh was not interested in young and energetic surroundings. He was in a plain t-shirt and jeans. In this casual dress, he was looking more handsome. He was not IO or even in policeman now. He was a young man who was here to meet his would-be life partner. Preeti was chosen by his parents. She was studying library science in Delhi University and living in a girls' hostel. Preeti and Bhupesh were told by their respective parents to spend some time and decide if they were a proper match for each other. If they agree, then the family will proceed to plan their marriage. He was meeting second time to Preeti, but still was not open up. He was feeling shy, but he liked Preeti's beautiful face and sweet voice. He started talking about college and students' lives etc. He saw some young couple in the park who were too close to make him uncomfortable. Preeti recognized his uncomfortableness. She asked, "Should we go somewhere else? These shameless people, parents send them here to study, to make their career and they are spending father's money like this." Bhupesh expresses his disgust. Preeti smiled carelessly, "Take it easy Bhupi. They are having affairs, it doesn't mean they are not sincere about their careers or their families." "What a sincere, blowing father's money for personal enjoyment," he said sarcastically. "You police people always see things black and white, wrong and right. Not everything is like that. Go someday to the Vijaynagar area. That is the students' hub. You will see rooms there, with ceilings not tall enough to stand a tall person. Students living in that room spend their time on college campuses. The foreigners living around were not from developed or rich countries. They just want a safe and happy life." Bhupesh tried to say something but kept quiet because he did not want to spoil his personal time with Preeti. He changed the topic and ordered some French fries and a coffee. Don't know why Preeti's words unintentionally remind Bhupesh of the Hamid and Uma case. Was he biased toward Hamid and Uma? Was he acting negligently or hurriedly to draw the conclusion that they were guilty? Living together without marriage, keeping them presentable, did make him biased. No, this is not like that, the drug found in the girl's bag in their flat. They cannot be innocent. Preeti's voice brought him to the present. He knocked out his thoughts saying himself, the police have already done their duty, and they filed a charge sheet. Rest is on the advocate and the court. He smiled at Preeti and they both stood up. Chapter 13, Uma's Guilt. It was a court hearing date. All concerned persons were present in the courtroom. Hamid was sitting on a chair in last row hand-holding by a policeman who took him to the court. Advocate Anil Bhardwaj was sitting in front row engrossed in reading the case file. Dr. Khanduja came and greeted him. He cast a glance at Hamid who was quiet and calm as usual. There was an exchange of mild smiles between Dr. Khanduja and I.O. Bhupesh Singh. Dr. Khanduja was looking again and again at the door. He was looking for his daughter. The judge came. Court crier started to call names from the case list. At that time one policewoman brought Uma into the courtroom. Uma was looking for Hamid and Dr. Khanduja. At a very time, the court crier called the case name loudly, State versus Uma and another. All concerned person took their respective place. The judge gave a gesture to start. PP stood and started. The main accused in this case is Uma. The drug was kept in her bag and she has already admitted that the bags and the bottles belong to her. She is only denying that the drugs in those bottles did not belong to her and that she does not know about that substance. She has no explanation for how and when these drugs came in her bag and her home. As earlier, when PP started speaking, the heart of Dr. Khanduja started to sink. Every time he thought she was very skillful and her skill to support her case may be proven against his daughter. While listening to the PP, he was observing the face and gesture of Saurabh and Hamid. In fact, this was the first time he looked at Hamid so carefully. Though he had not talked a single sentence with him. PP continued, Uma was preparing for a medical entrance. She is a student of biotechnology. She has some friends from the pharmaceuticals branch. Being so, she must be well aware of the uses and effects of drugs. She paused for some time, had a look at Uma and Hamid, and then she again fixed her eye on the judge and continued, though it is right that both accused were not found taking drugs in their medical reports. But this is not a case of taking illegal drugs but keeping and using illegal and lethal drugs for commercial purposes, which is a more serious offense. The point to be noted is the heavy quantity of drug which is found in custody of the accused. Total in more than a half kilogram. Again, there is no explanation for keeping this heavy amount of illegal drug in the home. Defense counsel Mr. Anil Bhardwaj sought permission to say something. The permission was granted. He started, learned PP saying hypothetical things to this court. Police miserably failed to establish the chain from where and how these accused managed to get the drugs and sell them. From the medical report, it is clear that both the accused did not use the drugs. It is very easy to say that someone using or selling the illegal substance, but it is tough to prove this. The charge sheet is silent about this point. PP checked him saying, sorry for interrupting you, but this is a childish argument. She looked at the judge and said, how can an experienced counsel status like Mr. Bhardwaj say that? Law clearly says that selling, keeping and using this drug is illegal and therefore, keeping it in the house is enough to establish the offense. Yes, learned PP is right. Keeping illegal drugs in the home or in the bag is an offense, but the question is that it is not very tough to keep some illegal substance in someone's home or bag and call the police. Therefore, I want to ask some questions to the IO, which I last time also asked. I want to answer in detail, urged Mr. Bhardwaj. The judge nodded. IO. Bhupesh Singh was in the witness box. You had deposed your statement on the last date of the hearing. Today I want to ask some questions regarding your statement. Are you ready for the cross-examination? Asked Mr. Bhardwaj. Yes, I am ready, said IO. Bhupesh, can you tell me how do you came to know about the drugs kept in the accused house? Asked Mr. Bhardwaj. I have told you on previous dates that police got a call on its number 100 about this. Can you tell the court about the informer? No, I cannot because police cannot public all its sources of information. It is a question of safety of the informer. It's okay. But is it right that he or she was not your official informer? No official informer can call on 100 to give any secret information. Yes, it is right, he was not an official informer of the police. He was someone from the public. He informed the police in the public interest. Judge asked irritatingly to the IO. Let's assume, if someone from the public informs the police about some crime, what is the course of action police should take? to take down the information and investigate this. Police did the same thing in this case too. We went and searched the house of the accused. We got medical tests done on both of the accused. We asked them if there was any chance for somebody to put them there. We not only asked but verified their statements. After investigation, we found that only 2 keys of the flat. The main accused Uma was carrying her backpack with her all the time. Once she put the bag in the locker of the library, but the key of the locker was still with her. So, we have no choice but to accept that not only the bag and bottles but the substance inside it belonged to the accused persons. Chapter 14. Hamid's point of view. Hamid was not unaware of hate for him in the police and even in Uma's father. Even my advocate did not visit me to know my case. I have only a sigh of relief that my Uma has trust in me. My parents were far away. I am missing my family. The warlike situation of my country and the poor financial capability of my father may have restricted him from visiting me in the Indian jail. My parents were illiterate farmers. He saw sadly his cell in jail. His cellmates were asleep. A drop of tear rolled down from his eyes. I have been here for almost 1 year. No family and no friends came to see me. My Uma is also in jail. My parents have a friendly feeling about India. They were fed up with war and unrest in my country. Earlier they were happy with their little income. But now they are always fearing for the lives of their children. He did not want much. He just wants his children to live a peaceful life. They arrange money to send me to India. They have only hope that I can get a good education and better job opportunity here or somewhere in the world, so I can live in peace. His heart felt heavy thinking about the sadness of his parents. He ruined all their hopes. But why am I in jail? I have done nothing wrong. What happened the previous day or that night? Nothing unusual, the opportunity to keep the substance in the bag. The lawyer was talking about this, who could do this. And when I and Uma left our house at 9 a.m. She took the metro to her college. I went by bus to Mandi house to meet someone to help me to find a job. I needed a part-time job. Then I went to the theater group. I wanted to do some acts to earn money and get more stage presence. So I was rehearsing tirelessly. At 5 p.m., Uma called me that she was leaving her college. I had some time to finish my work. So, she went to the library. Then we met in a restaurant and went back to home. In the home, the door was locked properly as we locked it in the morning. After that, none came to our house and we did not come out. Wait, we came out only after dinner, but not out of the building. We went for a walk on our terrace only. While we were on the terrace, the door was locked. We took a flat on the 4th floor. The higher floor is the cheapest in the building without a lift. I am not very friendly to our neighbors. The rent agreement was made in the name of Uma. She sometimes used to talk to the landlord and neighbors. I have only the hello namaste term from my neighbors. I cannot speak even Hindi properly. Oh, what and when happened then? Unknowingly cannot it be? It must be someone kept there intentionally to entrap us in a criminal case. But why? Neither I nor Uma has any enmity with someone. We have no enemy. No one will benefit from it if we are behind the bars. Hamid kept thinking as usually he does nowadays but could not draw a conclusion. Don't know how long he kept thinking and when he fell asleep. Chapter 15. The Anonymous Call. Dr. Khanduja was sitting in a chair in an open-sky coffee house in Connaught Place. I.O. Bhupesh Singh was sitting opposite to him. Dr. Khanduja tried to meet him many times. But I.O. was not interested in meeting. He went to see him in his police station. But he was busy. Finally, he agreed to meet him when he was off duty. Dr. Khanduja came to Delhi only to see him. The I.O. was here in casual dress. His tense face, which was common in his police station, was now looking gentler. He asked, "So, Dr. Sahab, why do you want to meet me?" "Now nothing in my hand. Police have already completed the investigation. Now what do you want me to do?" "I know that. Thank you for coming. You spare some time for me. I have some new information regarding the case, but I don't have proof. I want to confirm if I am not wrong," said Dr. Khanduja in a low tone. "What's that? I know you have already submitted your report. But this is a question of 2 young lives. Their careers, and their family all will be destroyed. If they are found criminal, they may not get a job. You are like my son, please help me find the truth." I don't want to get punished somebody who is innocent. I always tried to help you, you know that. I have inquired personally to your daughter and that boy. But they did not say me anything. I had no choice but to consider them as offenders. Saurabh is a drug addicted. How do you know that? Uma told me once that he was not like earlier. He has changed completely. He cannot make eye contact, cannot concentrate on any point, his mood swings so swiftly etc. Initially, I did not notice that. Then I started observing him. Even I went to his house. I went there twice but could meet once. The second time he did not open the door. Being a doctor I can guess he is drug addicted. If so, even then how can I help you? We have no proof against him. That's why I am here. Can you please find out his location on that night and the previous day? He finished his coffee. Sorry drive. Sahab, it is not as easy as your people think. I have to get permission from higher officials. It may take time, but you can do this. You are IO in this case. If you ask for permission, they will grant you. I will try, I will help you, if I can. Saying this IO stood up. Dr. Khanduja followed him. Though he was looking reluctant, his gesture was not so strict. It looks like he also believes that Uma and her friend may be innocent. Bhupesh ji, can you tell me unofficially who made that anonymous call and from where? Someone from the neighborhood of your daughter's flat. He took a brief pause then continued. I asked your daughter and her friend if they have any enmity with anyone or maybe anyone tried to harm them. But both denied it. Police cannot help someone who does not want to help himself. I.O. saying this while letting his breath out heavily. Dr. Khanduja had nothing to say more. Suppose I held a raid against Saurabh. In the medical test, he is confirmed to taking drugs. Even in worse conditions, I may found some drugs in his room. What will happen then? Asked Bhupesh and then he himself gave a reply. Police will have to arrest Saurabh. He will have to face legal consequences. But that's going to be of no help in your case. How will you prove that your daughter is innocent? Chapter 16. A plan for 20 minutes. Dr. Khanduja was regaining some rays of hope. He was sitting before the advocate Anil Bhardwaj. He told him everything since he started to notice something unusual in Saurabh, from visiting his home, Saurabh meeting with the grey short-haired man, to his conversation with the IO. He also told him about the activities of his daughter on that day. He asked to remind Uma of even a minor activity of that day. Do you know the email of Saurabh? Asked Mr. Bhardwaj thoughtfully. At the same time, he called his junior Pratik. Pratik, can you find the location of any person or does it need an ethical hacker? He asked Pratik. Pratik was an expert in modern-day technology without having any authorized degree. No sir, it does not need any hacking. Even from browsing history and location maps, we can know that. But for this, I need to have Google account access of that person, or if he using Wi-Fi then the Wi-Fi password. Where is your daughter's mobile? Asked Mr. Bhardwaj suddenly. With me in my hometown. Police took their mobile for further investigation. When nothing suspicious was found, the court released this on Superdari. You filed the application for Superdari. Dr. Khanduja said in a confused voice. Yes, I remember that. That's why I asked you. Said Mr. Bhardwaj. Please call someone to your home, tell him to turn on the mobile. I will connect that mobile to my mobile and find if there is any useful information there. Said Pratik. We have to know the Google account of Saurabh and how Uma's mobile can help in this. Asked Dr. Khanduja surprisingly. Uma and Saurabh were in a relationship for so long. Saurabh might have opened his account on this mobile too. Pratik was explaining. Dr. Khanduja and Mr. Bhardwaj were listening to him with curiosity. Pratik further moved to his point. Uma and Saurabh were once classmates. They may have used the same college Wi-Fi and the same password. Though we have no idea if it will work or not, I think we should give it a try. Yes, Pratik is right. If it does not work then we can request police to take his call and location details. Said Mr. Bhardwaj. I do not have much idea about these modern day technologies. I know only some work on mobile like chat, call, email and Google search. Now I see some news on YouTube. That's all. Dr. Khanduja gave up. Everyone smiled. Dr. Khanduja made a call to his son Akash. After about 1 hour Uma's mobile was charged and recharged. It was switched on. The password was known to Akash, so he could open it. Uma's mobile was connected to Pratik's mobile by using the AnyDesk application. Pratik and Akash were continuously in touch with phone calls. It was about 8 p.m. but everyone was still there in Advocate Anil Bhardwaj's office. Pratik said, "We could not find many details but could find Surabh email and also the password for Google Save Password feature." "So, what's next?" asked Mr. Bhardwaj. "If I enter his Google account from a different location and from a different device, then Google will send an alert message on his mobile and mail. Then, I think I should try it tomorrow at about 11 a.m. when Saurabh will be busy in his lab. To confirm that he is not close to his phone, Dr. Khanduja will call him on his office number. Meanwhile, I will get into his location history. I need 20 minutes for that." Chapter 17. Where was Saurabh on the 20th of March? Dr. Khanduja and Pratik were sitting in the office of Advocate Bhardwaj. Mr. Bhardwaj was not there, he was in court at that time. At 11 a.m., Dr. Khanduja called Saurabh on his office phone. "Sorry Saurabh, I disturbed you in your work time." "It's okay uncle. Is there any urgency?" They both talked for almost 20 minutes. On Pratik's signal, Dr. Khanduja disconnected the call after getting permission from Saurabh. Pratik was overjoyed. The police caught Uma and Hamid on the morning of the 21st of March. The location shows that Saurabh was in Najafgarh, in a nearby location of Uma's house. He looked at Dr. Khanduja and again at his phone where he saved screenshots and PDF of Saurabh location history. Not only the 20th of March but as per location history, he frequently visits this area. But why? Why does he visit Najafgarh so frequently? The question is still there. Is there any connection between his visits to Najafgarh and Uma's case? If he fabricated evidence against Uma? If so, how and when he could manage this? Pratik said, lost in thought. Then, it was Saurabh who called the police. But why and how could he do this? He loves Uma and does everything to save her from this case. Added Dr. Khanduja. Let's wait for Bhardwaj sir to come. After some time Mr. Bhardwaj came back to his office. He ordered tea and listened to everything that Pratik found from the location history of Saurabh mobile. He thought for a while, then said to Dr. Khanduja, "Dr. Sahab, please call to IO and ask him if the informer used Saurabh mobile number." Dr. Khanduja did this. After finishing the talk with IO he said to Mr. Bhardwaj and Pratik, "IO told that informer called police not through mobile but through Call Me app. Police inquired about this account. It is in the name of some Mr. Ashish, who lived in an adjoining building of Uma. But Uma and Ashish both denied knowing each other. Neighbors said the same thing. If they did not know each other then there is no point why Ashish would make a false complaint against her." IO was also saying that even Ashish denied making any call to the police. However, police believed that he had made the call and he denied it out of fear of being harassed by police. What is Ashish flat number? Uma was living in a rented flat. Have you vacated the flat? Asked Mr. Bhardwaj, thinking something. The landlord wanted to vacate the flat. So, I shifted all their luggage to an outer room and vacated other rooms of the flat. He wants to vacate that room too. I met him only once. I send him rent on his account regularly. It means, one room is still in your possession. You have the key of that room. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Pratik, can you find out more about this Ashish? For that, I have to break into his Google account and Wi-Fi password. It is not so easy. Pratik, though technology has much importance, still the physical world matters. Let's go there. I don't know exactly what I am looking for, maybe find some way out there. He is right, Pratik. You accompany Dr. Sahab. Please don't do a police job or try to be a Sherlock Holmes. Everyone smiled. Chapter 18. In the flat No. D4. Pratik and Dr. Khanduja were standing in the room which was filled with Uma and Hamid's luggage. It was flat No. D4. From furniture to kitchen articles, from books to clothes, everything was dumped in that small room. There was a layer of thick dust everywhere. There was no space to sit down. Pratik managed to clean some space and sat down at the dining table. Dr. Khanduja managed to find some space on the study table. Pratik opened his mobile and searched for Wi-Fi connection nearby. He saw a name in the list of available Wi-Fi connections, Ashish 4G. Yes, he is within the Wi-Fi range. He murmured, "What does it mean? asked Dr. Khanduja curiously. It means if I can get the password for this Wi-Fi connection, I can know some more things about him. Like, his browse history, his location history, and of course when he is online. It is a kind of digital stalking. It means if Ashish has access to Uma's Wi-Fi, then he too knows these things about her. Of course, he can. But the basic question is how can he use this information to find an opportunity to place something in her bag or in her flat? Yes, this is the basic question. Let's try to find out. Saying this, Ashish went near the window. He moved stuff near the small window to find some space to stand there. He was observing outside visuals. Soon after, Dr. Khanduja also joined him. Ashish's flat was in the adjoining building. No window, balcony or other open area there toward this flat. No one can keep an eye on this flat from there. Both flats are inside the building. A total of 8 flats in this building. Almost a similar number of flats might be in that building too, because the area and the heights of both buildings are almost the same. Said Dr. Khanduja, thinking. Yes, you are right. There are CCTV cameras installed at the main entrance of both the buildings. Added Pratik. CCTV cameras can tell only about who entered the building and not about any particular flat. Suggested Dr. Khanduja. Let's take a walk, said Pratik suddenly. So, start from the terrace first. Moved Dr. Khanduja to accompany Pratik. They spent almost half an hour on the terrace but found nothing noticeable. They took 2 rounds of the colony without knowing what exactly they were trying to find. The landlord of Ashish was having a general store shop on the ground floor of the same building. Pratik reached to him at his shop. Uncle, can I have Ashish's number? Landlord stared at him. Uncle, I am Pratik, Ashish's friend. I lost my mobile and his contact number too. Now I brought this new mobile. There were not many people at the shop. The landlord looked at him, thought for a while and gave him the mobile number. When Ashish returns? Pratik asked while saving the number on his mobile. Not fixed time, any time after 5 p.m., landlord replied irritatingly. Pratik thanked him and left the shop. What will you do with this number? Asked Dr. Khanduja. Nothing much, we'll just see his WhatsApp DP. Replied Pratik carelessly. Dr. Sahab, I think we should leave now. We'll come tomorrow evening. Chapter 19, Saurabh speaks to himself. It is the 18th of March, my birthday. There are no birthday wishes or gifts for me, no anymore. Yes, I got some, but all these wishes and gifts cannot make me happy. I felt amazing all these things when Uma was with me. She was the first who used to wish me for so many years. I have spent one more year of my life. My life, without her. Without Uma. No birthday wishes or gifts for me, no anymore. No wish or gift can make me feel so special without her. She is in jail for 1 year. She has been out of my life for 1 year. Is this right? Is she far away from me only this year? No, she has left me much before that. I still remember my first birthday since we got into a relationship. It was in the year 2017. I was so happy. She was a girl. I felt something special when I saw her in college first time. She accepted my love. A tear rolled down from his eye. But he did not realize that. He wanted to live some more time with her happy memories. He emptied whiskey the bottle in his glass. She was a very sincere and reserved kind of girl. It took more than 1 year to befriend her. I was not sure if she would accept my proposal. But she did. She accepted me in her life as a lifetime partner. I was so happy. He suddenly realized his mobile ringing for a long. He picked it up. His mother was on the other side. She was calling him to wish him. His father and brother also wished him warmly. They were happy. However, Saurabh was not in the mood to talk much. He only could say, thank you, to all of them. The influence of alcohol and memories of Uma took him over. He disconnected the call saying, I am feeling so sleepy, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Why Uma left me? She was always stopping me what I wanted to do. Don't drink, and don't spend your time with useless and toxic friends. Look presentable. Why should I follow all her instructions? I loved her so much. I gave her my time and all happiness. But I want to live my life. Why she hated alcohol? I drink from my earnings. Everybody drinking nowadays. She was so conservative. He flung his fist in the air. Uma did not like my friends. When I took the drug first time I felt so solace. I was not drug addicted. I just used to take it sometimes. I never told her about this because I knew she would not tolerate this. She felt I was ill. She came to my house to see if I was alright. I keep avoiding her so she cannot know my secret about taking drugs. She started to suspect me. There were so many problems in life. Searching job is so tough nowadays. My parents think I will be a billionaire after finishing my studies. So many stresses, so many. What if I took some alcohol or drugs to get relief from the stress? Now alcohol was surpassing his conscience. He could not think of memories properly. His thoughts became shattered. That unpracticable girl, she did not want to change herself. She started to ask me so many questions. Her investigation used to make me angered sometimes. Yes, I slapped her sometimes. Why was she interrogating me like that? She was bossy, but still, I loved her. She was so beautiful. She loved me dearly. She helped me. She cared for me. But she left me. I begged for pardon, but that day she told me that it was enough. She did not want to continue this relationship. She told that she cannot live with me. She could not tolerate my violent behavior anymore. Still, I had hoped she would be returned to me because I loved her. She loved me. She got harmed and left me forever. She was not ready to return to me. Ellipsis quote. How could she do that? She blocked my number. She blocked me from all her social media accounts. She refused to talk to me. I went to see her so many times, but she threatened to call the police if I would follow her anymore. How could she? How? Chapter 20. Ashish and Saurabh. It was their third cup of tea since they stood at the tea stall at 5 p.m. Meanwhile, they took 2 betel leaves from a nearby stall. It is 8:30. Ashish has not come yet. What will we do if he not come? Asked worriedly Dr. Khanduja. Don't worry, he will come. This is his home. Saying this, he again saw Ashish's WhatsApp DP. Prateek had never seen Ashish before, so he wanted to set his photo in his mind. He again said, there is only one main entrance in this building. There is no designated parking in this area. People used to park their vehicles in the nearby street of his home. So, he must park his vehicle on the street only. Prateek ordered one more packet of biscuits. Right then Dr. Khanduja saw a biker stop his bike near the building and took off his helmet. He gesticulated Prateek toward the biker. Prateek rushed to the biker. Excuse me, can you do me a favor? Ashish looked at him. I am here to meet my friend, but I left my mobile in the office. Can I make a call from your mobile? A man sitting on the corner tea stall said loudly to Ashish. They have been waiting for hours for their friend sitting here. The man turned toward Prateek. If you need a mobile, why don't you ask earlier? He again turned to talk with another person. Ashish gave his mobile to Prateek. Prateek dialed number. This number was saved on mobile as Saurabh, Janakpuri. Prateek disconnected the call immediately. My guess was right. Saurabh and Ashish are known to each other. He returned the mobile to Ashish saying, he is not picking up my call. Anyway, thank you so much. Sorry, your name? Ashish. Hi Ashish, I am Prateek. I am looking for a cheap 2-room flat in this area. Do you know any? Is there any room vacant in your building or any nearby building? I have heard flats are cheap in this area. Prateek said in one breath. No. Ashish gave a brief answer and turned toward his house. Ashish, can you keep my number, so you can inform me if you know about such a flat? I am neither property dealer nor landlord. So why should I do that? Ashish said rudely and walked toward his house. By then Dr. Khanduja came to him. He is so unfriendly, Prateek murmured. Do you need a flat? A passerby asked him from behind. He and Dr. Khanduja both turned toward the voice. Yes, I am looking for this. Bhatia ji, there is a vacant flat on the 3rd floor of C10. Isn't it? He asked a general shop owner across the street in a loud voice. Bhatia replied, some people came to see that but have not finalized that as yet. I think so. You want to see that? C10 means Ashish's building. Of course I want to see it, as soon as possible. Can it be possible now? Bhatia sent a boy with them to see the flat. The boy took the key from the landlord from his ground floor shop. The trio went to the 3rd floor of the house. There were 2 flats on each floor. Ashish lived on the 2nd floor. Pratik started talking with the boy about the locality and the building. Dr. Khanduja was simply following them. There is no disturbance at all in this house. All are students or working people. Landlord doesn't want hue and cry, so he did not rent out his flat to any family. The boy said, "Who is living on the second floor?" asked Pratik. "Ashish Bayer is living in one flat. He is preparing for a government job. In the daytime, he works in a company. At home, he was always quiet and busy with his books. Only a very few of his friends visits him sometimes. In another flat, a northeastern working couple lives. They leave for work early and come home late night, because their working place is far from here." The boy tried to give details of the resident of the building. Pratik interrupted him. "How many friends of Ashish visited here most?" "Only a few. Saurabh Bayer only frequently visits him. Generally, he comes in the evening time after his office. He stayed there only for some hours and leaves about 11 to 12 p.m. Chapter 21, The Final Clue. Advocate Anil Bhardwaj was observed in deep thought while sipping coffee. Pratik and Dr. Khanduja were sitting in front of him in his office. Mr. Bhardwaj said thoughtfully, "From the information we gathered from both of you, police and other sources, 4 points are clear. First, Saurabh is taking drugs and alcohol. Second, he had the motive to implicate Uma and Hamid. Third, he has a friendship with one of Uma's neighbors. And fourth, Uma moved on in her life, but for Saurabh, this was not true. He kept trying to come back into Uma's life." Pratik and Dr. Khanduja nodded. Mr. Bhardwaj continued, "However, we don't have any proof that he is involved in this case anyway. Only giving information to any offense cannot make him an offender. Can we seek police help? If the police make a raid on his house and find something?" asked Dr. Khanduja. "I don't think it would be a great help. What kind of things do you expect there? Drugs, bottles of whiskey, photo of Uma and Saurabh. What will this prove? And more important, what if nothing is found there? Saurabh will get alerted. To find something in your daughter's favor will be more difficult," said Mr. Bhardwaj in a plain voice. "Sir, one question has been stuck in my mind for a long time," said Pratik. "What is that? Saurabh's friendship with Ashish is mere coincidence or part of his plan? Has Ashish helped him? How long they been a friend?" As Uma told Dr. Sahib, she was not aware of Saurabh's visit or even any connection from Najafgarh. She doesn't know any of his friends named Ashish. Mr. Bhardwaj and Dr. Khanduja were listening to him carefully. Suddenly Dr. Khanduja interrupted him. "You young people, all your feelings and achievements etc. share to your social media. Can we find something from his social media posts?" "Yes, you are right. Though it is a time-consuming process, but we can try it," said Pratik. He took out his mobile and tried to find Saurabh and Ashish's account. Ashish's Facebook account profile was locked. His LinkedIn profile was very simple and with very few posts. All the posts about his job and study. His Instagram profile could not be found. It looks like Ashish is not a social media friendly person. "What about Saurabh?" asked Dr. Khanduja. "It is taking too much time. Can your son help me in this search?" asked Pratik to him. "Yes, I think so. Let me call him." After some time Dr. Khanduja informed him that his son Akash was at home and online. He is ready to help him. He gave his mobile to Pratik to talk directly. Pratik and Akash were doing something on their mobile and laptop. They took so many screenshots and PDF. Dr. Khanduja and Mr. Bhardwaj were very eager to know what they had found. Finally, Pratik spoke up. Saurabh was also not very active on his social media account. He opened his Facebook account in 2010. But there are some photos only uploaded from his mobile. Most of the photos are taken in his college. Some of his photos are with Uma and his other friends. He is more active on Instagram. He joined Instagram in 2018, just before 2 years he and Uma broke up. His first photo was with Uma from the Rose Festival at Delhi University. This was posted on the 18th of March 2018. Most of his Instagram stories and posts are about some quotations. Pratik looked at Mr. Bhardwaj and Dr. Khanduja. He continued explaining more. "Change is not as good always as winter. The 7th of November 2019, love is a barrier to freedom. The 1st of January 2020, love comes with heavy cost. The 18th of March 2020. Emotional Ashik. said Mr. Bhardwaj in a low voice. Dr. Khanduja remembered something. The 18th of March. The 18th of March is his birthday. He proposed to Uma after his birthday party on the 18th of March 2017. In 2019 he was heavily drunk at his birthday party. He behaved in very unruly manners. This was the point where differences started to arise between Uma and Saurabh. In 2020 he invited her to his birthday party in a restaurant near Rajiv Chowk. But she did not go there. After the party, he came to her hostel and created an ugly scene there. When Uma tried to pacify him, he slapped her hard. This was the point where Uma finally decided to step out of his relationship. Uma told me all this. Oh, that's why he has been sharing something emotional on every the 18th of March. He hid his birthday on Instagram and Facebook. Let me go back, murmured Prateek. Yes, the 18th of March 2017, 2018 and 2019 he shared only the photo with Uma. In those photos, they both look happy. In 2020, 2021 and 2022, he shared only sad quotations. On the 18th of March 2020, love comes with heavy cost. On the 18th of March 2021, if you cannot get something, don't spare it for another. On the 18th of March 2022, nature will get revenge for everything. On the 21st of March 2022, just after 3 days of this post, Uma and Hamid were arrested. He posted, "Divine justice wins." Today is the 25th of March 2023. On the 18th he posted, "Goodbye, my love, stay in peace." Prateek finished reading the posts. Can you find, whom is he searching the most of his social media accounts? And also, who was in the common friend list of Uma and Saurabh? Asked Mr. Bhardwaj. No sir, I cannot go through his search history without having his account access. He continued gazing at his mobile. He has 15 common friends with Uma and 3 common friends with Hamid. Out of 15 only 5 are from their college. The other 4 are from the Najafgarh area and other friends and relatives Uma. 2 of their common friends with Hamid are from his modeling and playgroup, and 1 is his family member from Afghanistan. Means it is a kind of digital stacking. Even Uma had blocked him, however, he became a friend of Uma and Hamid's friends so he could know about them. Prateek, take the permission for me to visit Hamid in jail tomorrow, said Mr. Bhardwaj. Chapter 22, A Perfect Plan. Hamid was in shock when the policeman informed him that his advocate wanted to see him. It was the first time when someone came to see him in jail. After about 1 hour a policeman came and took him to a small room near the inner gate of the jail. He saw his advocate sitting there. There was only 2 chairs, 1 small table and a bench. Nothing else in that room. The policeman left him there and walked away. He was stationed in some respectable distance, not too close to hear their talk, and not too far to take any action if it needed so. The meeting arrangement for an advocate was different than meeting with family and friends. The reason is simple. The advocate has to defend the prisoner, therefore, they need more privacy to explain his case to the advocate. Mr. Bhardwaj gestured for him to sit. He said, "Namaste," with a mild smile and sat down. Replying to his namaste, Mr. Bhardwaj asked him smiling, "How are you, Hamid?" Hamid was still in shock, he could only give a sad smile in reply. Mr. Bhardwaj started, "As you know, we are trying hard to save both of you. I need some information, which might be helpful for us." Hamid nodded. "Do you know Saurabh?" "Yes, I do. I met him only 2 or 3 times. What else do you know about him?" "Not much, when I and Uma were just a friend. We came in contact through a common friend. Slowly I realized she was very upset and frightened inside. I came to know that she was in a relationship, and now he found that that guy was not suitable for her. She did not want to live with him. But that guy was following her everywhere. After finishing the course the guy joined the job but Uma chose to pursue higher study. That guy created a nuisance by coming to her hostel, her classroom and even on the road. On 2 or 3 occasions he slapped her in public. Is all these things she told you?" "Not all the things. Something she told me, something her friends told me. Sometimes I observed that too. She was very upset about her wrong choice. Once I suggested to her to go to the police, but she did not want to drag the matter. She also did not want to keep her parents in worry. So, she chose to keep quiet." "Have you met him?" "Yes. First time I see him at the library. Uma was there for some book. When she came out, he was standing at the gate and started to beg her pardon. But she did not want to talk to him. Suddenly he became furious and slapped her. He was abusing her. We had a plan to go somewhere together. So, I and my friend were there to pick her up. We saved her. The same scene happened outside her college gate too after some months. Initially, he was begging for her pardon and ready to bow down to her. She was feeling uncomfortable. When she repeatedly asked him to go, then he became violent against her. He started to beat and abused her. He was calling her again and again. Meanwhile, she came close to me. She started living with me so that he could move ahead. But it might have made him angrier. Though they were in a relationship and planning to marry. However, they never lived together. Ever he called you? Yes, he called me when Uma refused to talk and blocked his number. He called me on my mobile number. His voice was not very clear, it sounded fumbled and broken like he was drunk. He was abusing me, so I too disconnected his call and blocked his number. Everything is now clear except one thing. How and when did he manage to keep drugs in the bag? Can you remember something? This is a mystery for me too. Please think, Hamid, think. Now we have sufficient stuff to know who is your enemy but not sufficient proof to prove both of you innocent and put the real culprit behind the bar. Sir, I have been thinking all this since I came here. But could not understand. What else information did you gather about him? Asked Hamid. Mr. Bhardwaj explained everything in brief. Hamid said thoughtfully, it means he was stalking us not only digitally but physically too. He was hovering around us. But we were unaware. He suddenly realized something. There were two locks in our flat. The inner wooden gate has an interlock system. Outer iron gate has some grill and net to let air in. In that gate, we use a lock. When we used to go outside for a long, then we used to lock both inner and outer gates. However, we go out for some time and then usually lock only the outer gate. We used to go for a walk after dinner on the terrace. At that time only the outer gate was locked. Mr. Bhardwaj was carefully listening to him. At the main gate, there is CCTV. But this is facing toward the parking area. This was installed after two bikes got theft in front of the gate. If somebody comes along with the wall from the opposite direction, it may not captured in the CCTV camera. We were living on the 4th floor, the only flat on that floor. So many visitors come and go, so, generally main gate of the building remains open till midnight. If anybody enters and exits to the 4th floor, nobody will notice him. What a perfect planning. Saurabh made some friends online and offline who were close to both of you. I am sure Ashish does not know his intention. He only used him. From his house, he can easily keep an eye on both of you without being seen. On the 20th of March he was there in Ashish's house from 9 to 11 p.m. He must entered your house when you were on the terrace. He came back to Ashish's house and left the house at 11 p.m. But before leaving he made a call to the police from anywhere in Ashish's house from his mobile using the Call Me app. Mr. Bhardwaj stood up. He touched Hamid's shoulder gently and left the meeting room. He took his mobile phone from the counter and while processing toward the main gate he was making a call to Prateek. Prateek, please get an application drafted for re-investigation. Make sure it must be filed tomorrow in the court. Then he dialed the IO. Bhupesh Singh. Chapter 23, Behind the Bar. Mr. Bhardwaj, Prateek, Bhupesh Singh and Dr. Khanduja all were standing in the court lounge congratulating and thanking each other. Thank you IO. Sahab, you provided a great help beyond your duty, said Mr. Bhardwaj. Bhupesh smiled, Vakil Sahab, though you increased my workload, I gave to again investigate the case afresh. But still, I am happy. At least 2 promising lives could be saved from further misery. At last, the real culprit is behind the bar. Can you prove him guilty? Is there sufficient evidence against him? Asked Dr. Khanduja. Yes, Dr. Sahab. Police found a heavy amount of drugs, a duplicate key of Uma's flat, fake social media IDs etc. Medical report shows him drug addicted and alcoholic. Most importantly, he admitted his guilt too. CCTV footage from other houses in the street and a statement of Ashish will do the remaining work, said IO. Bhupesh Singh. How did he get the key? This is still a mystery for me. Dr. Sahib, it was so easy for him. Long ago, when Uma and he were together, Uma forgot her key in the lab, and she had to come again to the lab to collect her key. She decided to make a duplicate key, so she could carry one with her and another to keep anywhere in her hostel. She gave this work to Saurabh. Saurabh made 2 duplicate keys and kept one with him. This was not known to Uma. Unfortunately, she using her old hostel lock in this flat too. He visited her flat at noon some month ago and saw an old lock there. He tried to unlock this. The outer lock unlocked but the inner lock was hard to open. So, he was looking opportunity when only the outer gate was locked. Soon he found out that Uma and Hamid used to take a walk on the terrace leaving the inner lock open. The next step was also very easy for him. He knows that Uma is fond of deodorant. She sometimes used gents deodorant too. She keeps various brands of deodorant. He knew that if he kept bottles in any other place, Uma or Hamid might have noticed that. He also knew that Uma would see her backpack only in the morning. Therefore, he hid these bottles in her bag, so Uma and Hamid would not find them before the police's arrival. Your all doubts were clear now. The court has already ordered for release of Uma and Hamid. After some formalities, they were out in 3 to 4 days. Saurabh is already in jail. Police will investigate the case afresh, said Mr. Bhardwaj. Sir, I have a doubt, said Pratik. What's that? What will be breaking news for media now? Ashik ka badla, Diljala Ashik typed something. Everyone burst laughing.